Ready?
Steady.
Go.
Here at Lloyds Banking Group, there's no such thing as just an apprentice. I'm in a position to say whether our products are fair, ethical and designed to help Britain prosper.
That moment when you realise you're in a team managing over £150 billion in funds.
It isn't all finance all the time. I led a partnership with Macmillan to help our customers access better cancer care.
Everyone knows you can trust Lloyds. I've seen our bold sustainability commitments and every day I see us following through.
1 minute I'm leaving uni with my sports science degree. The next I'm in a room thinking of ideas to help millions of families during the pandemic.
I work in financial crime, international sanctions. As you can imagine, it's a pretty interesting place to be right now.
1 minute you're reading about the cost of living crisis and the next you're writing a briefing paper on it.
Off the back of my dissertation on DevOps pipelines, I went into an engineering role and now I'm rolling it out company-wide.
We all got million subscription nowadays, so my team built a tool that helps 18 million customers manage them in our app.
When it's not developing with React or Redux, it's gaming with the other grads or the odd night out.
I couldn't be prouder of my outreach work through Lloyds, helping school-age girls and non-binary people get into coding.
My next step, go for an associate director role, either in my team or something new and exciting. How's that for a rotation?
Hi everyone, I'm Damon and welcome to October's Lloyds Careers Live. This is our live streamed show for those of you at school or college, and of course your parents and carers, designed to help you learn about some of the exciting new career pathways that could be part of your future. The world of work is changing fast. By 2025, new jobs will have emerged. By 2030, lots of jobs we know today will be formed entirely differently. This can sound scary, but the good news is there is so much to discover and learn, and you've already made a great start by joining our live stream tonight.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Grania, and I'm your host alongside Damon this evening as we explore the exciting world of cybersecurity. If we go back just a few years, many people wouldn't have really thought of this as a career path, but of course today we all depend so much on our computers, our mobile phones, and a stable internet connection. You know how frustrating it is when you're trying to watch a video on YouTube and it starts buffering? Well, imagine how frustrating that would be when you need to log into your bank account and one day you find you can't get in at all. So much of the infrastructure we rely on as a country, road traffic controls, energy networks and payment networks have to be up and running 24 hours a day, incident-free. And yet, out in the world are, of course, people committed to disrupting that for various reasons. And that's why the work of our colleagues in cybersecurity is so important.
And so tonight, we're going to hear from our expert, Elizabeth Irvine, about the current state of cybersecurity, some of the trends we're seeing, and how organizations are all having to work really hard to keep everyone safe. And because Lloyds Career Live is designed to help you understand cybersecurity from a career perspective, we'll be joined by Jamie and Ben, who tell us all about how they started their career in cybersecurity and give us some ideas and tips to take on board.
And just a reminder that if some of you benefit from closed captioning, you can activate that now on our Zoom and also on our YouTube channel if you're watching us there later on. And if you miss anything on tonight's episode or you just want to go back over something one more time that's been said, from 7 p.m. tonight, this episode of Careers Live will be available for replay and download from our Lloyds Early Careers YouTube channel.
Lloyds Career Live is all about helping you learn about some of the new and emerging jobs that maybe aren't talked about so much at school. We've known for a while now how quickly jobs are changing, and by 2030, there'll be even more things you can do that we can't quite describe or imagine just yet. This is your opportunity to learn new things, but also get your questions answered. And we've made it really simple to do this. You don't have to come off mute, you don't have to turn your camera on. If there's a question on your mind that you'd like myself or Grenier to put to our guests, all you need to do is type it into the chat and we'll do our best to get this answered for you.
So Damon, I think it's time we put Zoom through its paces and find out where everyone is joining us from this evening. I'm joining from Belfast, but I want to see where you guys have joined from. So if you can pop it into the chat, that would be amazing. And one more thing to get us going, my team know I am a huge fan of Christmas, which is in just 83 days' time. Yay! So if you could celebrate Christmas anywhere in the world with a free travel ticket, where would you be going? Pop it in the chat and let us know.
Okay, looks like we've got some answers there. We've got some Edinburgh. They're coming thick and fast, actually. We've got London, lots of Londoners there.
Lots of London, lots of Edinburgh. All over the UK, amazing.
Okay, I think Ian's telling us about his trip that he wants to take to New Zealand. That would be a nice Christmas Christmas there in the summer.
Absolutely. If I were to spend Christmas anywhere, it would obviously have to be Lapland. And no, Ian, I won't be paying.
Christmas in New York sounds really good as well. Who mentioned that? I was thinking that's pretty cool, Gareth. Oh, we've got somebody from Pakistan as well. Wow, that's definitely some. Oh, is that you traveling to Pakistan for Christmas maybe? In China,
Wow,
so we've got some
exciting.
really exotic trips for Christmas planned. Awesome. There's some great answers there. Now let's dive into our expert session. So I'm really pleased to. Sorry.
Before we do, Damon, I think we have a little poll that we're going to share on the chat. So the last question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you currently know about careers in cyber? So 5 being the highest, you know lots, you're an expert and you could come and work for Lloyds Banking Group today, or 1, you don't really know a lot and you're excited to find out. Oh, lots of people with 3s, kind of in the middle, know a little bit but would like to learn more. Few experts there, I can see. Oh, we've one expert that wants a job already. Fantastic. Amazing. Really interesting. We'll have a look at that again later. Damon, over to you.
Thanks. Yeah, so some really great answers there. So it looks like we've got a bit of a mix of expertise in the room there, but we will now welcome our expert session. So I'm really pleased to welcome Elizabeth Irvine. Welcome to Lloyds Career Live, Elizabeth.
Hello, how are y'all doing?
Really, really well, and really interested to pick your brains about cybersecurity this evening. So if you don't mind, I've got some questions lined up for you.
All good, all good.
Okay.
The pressure's on.
Yeah, the pressure's on. No pressure though. To be honest, you should be absolutely fine with these questions. All right, so we're going to start off with one. The cybersecurity can be a little bit confusing sometimes for some people who might not know. So how would you describe cybersecurity to your friends or your family even?
So this is quite a hard one because it probably depends who I'm talking to. To my little nephew, I tell him that I protect everyone and everything within the bank. And that is ultimately what we do. When I talk to my parents, I obviously big up that I've got a really important job, which actually we do, because the job that we do does in fact protect all of our live services. It protects your banking app, it protects when you log onto your desktop. It also protects all of our colleagues, all of our customers. And that is really important because if anything bad was to happen, we are ultimately damaging the bank's reputation. We could lose a significant amount of customers. I think that the kind of average kind of total at the minute is about 40 to 50% of kind of customer retention would drop if we were to experience or be impacted by any sort of cyber attack or event. So what we do is so crucial. So actually, the way I describe it to my little nephew is true. We protect the entire Lloyds Banking Group estate from all sorts of cyber attacks. Really simply.
Yeah, wow. When you put it like that, it does. You have simplified it for me, but actually in a way that I've never really thought about. So you're not only protecting the bank, you're also protecting my job as well. So thank you for that. We lost half our customers. That wouldn't be good, would it? So awesome. So I guess I'm really interested in how you started your journey and actually what brought you to the world of cybersecurity.
So I joined Lloyds Banking Group on the graduate programme 7 years ago, last month actually. And if you told me that I'd be senior cybersecurity engineer way back then, I would have told you that you're kidding, and I wouldn't have believed you. My route and journey into cyber was probably not one that was intentional. Like most, cyber is a really up and coming industry. This kind of significance and importance of cybersecurity, not only within Lloyds Banking Group, but also in financial services and every organisation that exists, has become very, very, very important, as Daniel mentioned earlier. And I got into cyber because I wanted to do the do. I did a lot of IT project management. I did a bit of kind of people stuff in the IT space. And I thought, actually, I want to be able to make the impact. I want to be able to do the do. And that's ultimately how I got in. I started speaking to some of the team that worked in the cybersecurity space, finding out about what they do and what the impact they have is. And actually, it really excited me and I loved it. And my job is it's something that's I'm really passionate about, and that's really important. So the more I kind of explored what it was, because I actually didn't really know the kind of full impact or what that looked like, the more conversations you have, and the more I was like, oh, hold on a minute, I could probably do this. This sounds pretty cool. And I went for the role. And actually, it's been quite the journey since, and I've been in role for over 3 years now. And every day is a skill day, which I also love.
Amazing. So it's sort of like it wasn't actually your original plan, but the fact that you've seen it as a fantastic opportunity to build your career sounds amazing, and you can definitely tell that you really enjoy what you're doing. I guess you kind of covered off why cybersecurity is important in terms of bringing that kind of scale and the protection that you do. But is there anything that you would probably want to add to that in terms of why is cybersecurity important, and why should people think about that?
Yeah, so if you think of cyber, so if you were to talk to me about cybersecurity 7 years ago, when I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed graduate joining Lloyds Banking Group, as soon as you said cybersecurity or the word hacker, for example, you imagine, like from the movies, there's like a guy with a hoodie in his bedroom with his laptop, doing something, not really sure what he was doing, but actually that's a hacker. He's hacking and he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing. If you think now, attack groups and organizations are fully funded, and actually some of the attack organizations are larger than Lloyds Banking Group. And when you think of it that way, when they have so much money and intelligence within those attack organizations, it's really scary. And actually that's what makes it so important. So for us, we're not dealing with people in hoodies in their bedroom anymore. We're dealing with fully funded organizations that their sole purpose is to attack large organizations like ours to retrieve customer data, to get money. It's all financial, kind of financially driven, which is really scary, especially when we're a financial services organization. Ransomware is, my goodness, it's an incredibly scary term, and probably one that's not commonly understood. That the UK is the second most targeted country for ransomware attacks, and when we're the UK's largest digital bank, it's scary, and that's why it's so important that we do what we do, and we do it very vigilantly, and we are very diligent, and we are round 24/7 available to ensure that our services are protected at all times to the highest means. Financial services organizations are being attacked and targeted more so than ever, and I think it's probably kind of doubled and tripled in kind of attack vector space just within the last year. So it's incredibly prevalent, and I think it's what we do is so customer driven that we've got a huge responsibility and accountability to protect our customers and our services, and that's why it's so important, because it's always evolving. We're learning something new every day. There's a new vulnerability that's being exposed. There's a new attack organization. There's a new attack itself that we could be that they could attack our organisation. So it's more important than ever, really.
Wow. To be honest, it does sound scary, but super interesting as well. So the things that you must have seen in your time, and I know some of that must be or probably is sensitive, but is it possible that you could bring to life an example of how your team does keep everyone safe? So what kind of typical things would you be doing to kind of counteract some of these attacks that we've got?
So what we do is we look after our entire digital estate of Lloyds Banking Group. So we know exactly what services are live. We have them protected. So we have all of our digital services protected. We also monitor those services actively as well, so that we can see if there's any, it might not even be a cyber attack. It could just be an anomaly that we think, oh, that doesn't look quite right. We work really closely with our third-party cloud security provider as well. So we work really closely with them and have an amazing relationship to ensure that they share attack trends with us. They share information that they see that doesn't look quite right, so that we can investigate on an LBG side. We also are available 24/7. So we may see an attack, or we may see a simple logon drop, for example, and it might not be obvious at the time, but that could be due to a malicious actor trying to access one of our sites or services. So we jump on there so that we can remediate quickly and do that problem solving. We look at vulnerabilities. So we look at all the different vulnerabilities, new, old and different, and ensure that actually that we don't have any of those common vulnerabilities across our estate. Vulnerabilities is a funny one, because if an application's been live for, say, 5 years, there's almost 70% chance that there's a vulnerability in there. So we need to ensure that we are encouraging our engineering teams to keep their applications up to date, to ensure that they're not causing the bugs and we're having to work twice as hard. So we work really closely with all the different teams within the bank to ensure that our services are as stable and secure as possible. And it's not just our job, it's everyone's job. And we do a lot of that sharing as well. And that's one of the best parts of our job, is we get to talk about what we do. We get to share with the different teams. We get to share with people like you, to raise that awareness, so that everyone can be involved in solving the problem, and we're not waiting on that kind of reactive response all the time. We can start to be proactive, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that is really good. And I guess my probably interpretation of somebody working in cybersecurity is probably exactly the opposite of somebody sitting in a room hacking. It's probably somebody sitting in a room trying to counteract some of that stuff. But actually, there's loads of engagement, storytelling, all of that stuff within, I guess, the roles that you do as well, right?
Yep, 100%.
Awesome.
And we share a lot of the kind of attack stories as well, to raise awareness of how impactful it could be. And we see it across the industry, and we see it within other organizations that have been suspect to really big cyber attacks. And we've seen the financial loss, we've seen the reputational damage, we've seen the impact that it can have. And we use some of that information to share with our colleagues and customers to say, actually, this is, we do not want, and we hopefully will never be in that situation. And we really do build out that story, which is one of my favorite parts of our job.
Amazing. So Elizabeth, I've got one sort of final question. I know through the chat there have been some conversations around grad schemes and apprenticeship, and I guess in terms of cybersecurity, you can train that and get that qualification through an apprenticeship or the graduate route. In your opinion, is there an advantage of taking one or either of those routes?
Oh, I've got my 2 apprentices on here, so I can't be biased with my graduate heritage. I would say no. I think whatever works for you, we make it work. My biggest piece of advice would be, we want somebody who is driven and passionate and is able to apply themselves and is really willing to learn. Cybersecurity is one of those industries and jobs where you learn every single day, and if you don't love that, this is not the career for you. And I think being on the graduate program or the apprenticeship scheme gives you that ability to learn. A real advantage of the apprenticeship scheme, having my team just been through it, is that you get that dedicated learning path, which really supports the kind of upskilling and technical knowledge that you do need for this role, versus the graduate program where you get a whole load of the soft skills kind of drilled into you from day one, that also kind of massively support the role and the types of jobs that we do within cyber, not all being technical, by the way, but both have their advantages. My advice would be do what's right for you, and choose that career path based on your experience and what you want to do. Some people want to have that university experience, and by all means go and do that. There's credit to both schemes, which probably doesn't help massively, but there's definitely credit to doing both.
No, that's brilliant. I think it's a really good balanced answer there, Elizabeth. So you didn't go one way or the other there, but it's a good balanced answer. And I'll probably pick Ben and Jamie's brains on the apprenticeship scheme.
Definitely do that.
Elizabeth, I just want to say a big thank you for bringing to life the world of cybersecurity. Really interesting, and hopefully those guys who are listening out there found that really interesting as well. So I really want to say thank you and appreciate your time this evening. So thank you.
Thanks, Daman.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Some fab insight there from our expert cyber guest, Elizabeth. Now, as you start to think about your future, it's not just the type of jobs that you'll do, but also the kind of workplace and culture that might suit you. So let's take a quick look at how some of our newest colleagues here at Lloyds Banking Group have found their first few days working with us.
Love to work at LBG. So it was the feeling that I got when I was welcomed by my team.
Helping people in the most vulnerable of moments.
There's always like some activities going on, fun activities.
Honestly, I actually really can't appreciate everyone enough.
When I joined the group, the first day itself was very warm and welcoming.
And fun as well, a bit of fun too when you were doing the learning and stuff. And
everybody's welcoming, warm, you feel at home.
Satisfaction when you finish the call and somebody's like, thank you, you've helped so much, just makes your day a little bit better.
It's just been very enlightening to have a team that actually supports me and gets me going and ready for work. I've never really had that before.
As a bit of a nerd, the technology is really appealing.
The systems, they're easy to learn.
I really do love it here, and the people are great, everyone is great, coming into the office is great.
My training was genuinely fantastic. It set you up for success.
You are free to express yourself.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Lloyds that are outside of work.
I found the opportunities available very exciting.
It was easier to do the training with people that you can kind of get on with and have a laugh with.
There is always something that I learn every single day I'm at work.
I felt included from the start. It was really professional, really efficient.
I really enjoy the emphasis placed on personal growth and development.
Every avenue is open, it's very friendly, people are willing to talk and share what they do.
It's now time to catch up with our apprentices and discover how much apprenticeships in project management work. So let me introduce you to Ben and Jamie. Hi, Ben.
Afternoon, how are you doing?
Not bad. And welcome, Jamie. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing really well. You?
Yeah, not so bad. Thank you so much. I can still see that you're in the office at the minute. So thank you for having a bit of a late evening working. But thanks really much for joining us. So I've got a couple of questions, or I've got a few questions lined up for you for the next few minutes. And I'll ask the same question that I started with Elizabeth, actually. So again, if you both can kind of give your own kind of answers. So how do you describe what you do to your friends and family?
Yeah, I'll go first if you want, Jamie. But yeah, I think Elizabeth sort of hit the nail on the head, really. It's quite a difficult one to sort of explain to different types of family members, because obviously some can be technical, some can't be technical, but the way I sort of just explain it is what we actually do is quite important, especially when you actually explain to them that all of my family bank within LBG. So I kind of explain to them, I actually protect your money, your accounts. I allow you to be paid. I allow you to be able to send money to anyone you want. And that's kind of just the simplest way to explain it, because that is at the heart of what we do. We keep the services running and basically stop them from being hacked.
Awesome. Jamie, would you add anything else to that? I love the way you articulate that you've got the control of my money goes, my pay goes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think Ben and Elizabeth have covered it really well. I think it's all about we maintain the availability of the services that we protect. Without the protections that we provide and the work that we do, services will be impacted, businesses will be impacted, people will be impacted. And let's be honest, Lloyds being one of the largest banking groups in the UK, if not the largest, if we go down for any period of time, we're causing some form of economic chaos. So keeping us up and running is actually essential, and that's basically what we're doing.
Yeah. So Jamie, I'll keep with you for a minute then. So what do you actually do then as part of your apprenticeship, and so day to day, what is it that you do? I know that was one of the questions that come through in the chat.
So what do I do on a day-to-day basis? So my job now mostly is looking at the security controls that we've got in place. So I look at analysing traffic, making recommendations for tightening our security controls. So whether that's being against application-based attacks, so cross-site scripting, SQL injection attacks, or DDoS attacks. So making sure that we've got the right rate controls in place, we've got the right policies in place, and implement those changes. Working alongside the services, that because we don't own the services, there are different service areas, we work with them to make them recommendations, ensure they're comfortable with what we're doing as well. So that's mostly what fills my days up.
Okay, so really interesting though, because I understand that actually you trained to be a mechanic. So how did training to become a mechanic transform into getting into cybersecurity?
Yeah, many years ago. So when I was a lot younger, when I was 16, 17, I spent 2-3 years at college studying mechanics, motorcycle mechanics, car mechanics. Spent my weekends tinkering motorcycles and mopeds and just putting things apart. Just genuinely curious on how things work and how I can break stuff and how I can fix it again. And then back in the day, I suppose apprenticeships weren't that well paid, especially mechanic apprenticeships. It was about £3.85 an hour, and I kind of turned my nose up at it and said, "No, I'm going to go into." I went into retail at the time, which was only marginally better paid, but it was still better paid at £5.50 an hour. And then I bounced around a few jobs for a few years, and decided that I wanted somewhere with a career, and I applied to Halifax, and I started off on the cash desk. I then moved through various different roles, so banking consultants, credit cards, loans, bank accounts, that sort of stuff. And then I moved into mortgage advice and did that for 4 years. And during my time during mortgages, I realised the part of the role that I loved the most wasn't giving the advice. It was when I come up with somebody who was trying to engineer me, I guess, social engineer me, or I saw people scams and stuff, people using social engineering, and I think that was part of the cybersecurity world. And I found that really, really fascinating. And it got to the point I thought, well, I think I've got to as far as I could go within my career, and fancied a change. And I started looking through different jobs and what was available, and I stumbled across an apprenticeship. And I thought, well, I'm interested in this. Started chatting to a few people about it, attended a few calls, and applied for it, thinking, what's the worst that can happen? And before you know it, I'm rolling on to an apprenticeship and the start of a whole new career.
I love that. So it looks like you had 3 careers already, and you haven't even started yet. So that's brilliant. And the fact that you're worked your way through the Halifax branch network is where I started as well. So so that's awesome. So I loved hearing that. Ben, I come to you if you don't mind. So I guess it'd be really interesting to understand your journey into the sector as well, and what particularly interested you in cybersecurity.
Yeah, so going back when I was in sort of school and college, I genuinely didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. So I sort of just did the sort of standard GCSEs, then just went to college, picked a few subjects, still no idea what I wanted to do at all. Had a job as a lifeguard, which obviously doesn't give you sort of any experience needed for a cybersecurity job. And then eventually thought, okay, I need to get sort of like a real job now. So there was it was a temporary role, just working in the back office back office in Andover, where I'm from, within LBG, and it was good, but I saw it more as a job, not as a career. So I was kind of always interested in tech, sort of quite good with computers. So I was actually just sort of exploring the opportunities within the bank. And that's when I saw the cybersecurity apprenticeship come up. So I was like, okay, what am I going to need for this? And actually, you didn't need any cyber experience for it. All you needed was sort of the willingness to learn. And they just wanted someone who they could mold into the person they want for that team. So that was kind of what gave me the sort of push to jump for that opportunity, because one, I didn't have any experience, and two, this was going to give me some learning and an opportunity to gain a recognised qualification whilst getting into a growing sector. And now I actually know that I'm in the career I want to be in. So at the time, I obviously had no idea, but then kind of quite luckily fell into a good opportunity, and now love where I'm working.
I love that, and Ben, if I don't mind, I'll follow up that with a question really, just to kind of share with the audience this evening then, because it feels like you're in the right space for you right now. So I guess anyone else kind of considering a career in cyber, what kind of skills would you say are helpful? You said that you don't necessarily need any particular qualifications as such to start, but what kind of skills would you say are helpful?
So I'd say when it comes to cyber, a lot of people initially think it's all about the technical knowledge that you need straight away. But I would sort of counter argument that and say that one of the biggest skills that you can have is to be a good communicator. I think Elizabeth and Jamie will both agree that we spend a lot of time throughout our day chatting to different stakeholders within the business and outside the business. A lot of these people aren't technical, some are, but it's having the ability to communicate effectively, especially in high stress situations. So for example, we might be dealing with a live incident where customers can't access their accounts. You need to be able to sort of stay calm, be able to discuss and explain what's actually going on so you can help solve the problem. A lot of the time we're collaborating as a team, and just being able to explain things in a good manner and actually have effective communication skills is going to be a massive boost for your career, especially in cyber. And then obviously touching on technical skills, cyber is such a broad top, like what we do can be quite niche. Like you could do something completely different but still be in the cyber field. So it's sort of understanding the entire concept of cyber, but then depending on what kind of avenue you want to take down, having a look at the technical skills that relate to that as well. Something else I'd touch on as well is problem solving. Probably the majority of our days also spent problem solving issues that either we've broke or someone else has broke or something's gone wrong. But then what comes with that is the enjoyment. When you actually do solve that problem, you get a massive sort of boost from it.
Awesome. Okay. You've done a fantastic job bringing to life the key skills there, so that's awesome. Thank you so much, Ben. Jamie, if you don't mind, I'll come to you. I want to ask you a quick question around, obviously you were in work for a little while then, working through your career through the branch and obviously into mortgages, but actually come into an apprenticeship program where you're starting to kind of start learning again, I guess. So how was that in terms of returning to learning after being in the workplace for so long?
Yeah, I think it was really tough. I think I underestimated it. If I'm honest with you, when I first joined, I'd been in work for 15 years before I joined. So I started as an apprentice at the age 30. So I had 14 years stint in branch and other roles, and hadn't picked up a pen or picked up a study book or anything, or even looked at anything for that length of time. I think one of the hardest things I struggled with was putting my thoughts back onto paper. So being able to actually write, we had different projects we had to do as part of our apprenticeship, and was being able to put my thoughts onto paper and make coherent sentences, I guess, which sounds bizarre, but to write a project in a specific format that was going to be, assessed was really a big ask, and it was bigger than I thought it was going to be. And then dedicating time to actually study each week was always a challenge as well, because you've got work to do and you've got your study you need to do, and there's certain things you need to do before courses, and it was really hard to get into that mindset of, like, no, you need to study now, you need to stop and just put your work aside for the day or for a few hours and just actually study the subject you've been given. So it was a big challenge, and I'm glad I got through it.
Yeah, no, you've done, both of you, fantastic, really impressive guys, actually. So thank you so much for spending the last 10 minutes talking to me about your apprenticeship. Good luck with the future of your career, and you're doing a fantastic job. So thank you so much for.
Thank you, Darwin.
Thank you.
Jamie and Ben, thanks so much for that insight from our apprentices. So for our live audience listening tonight, it's now your chance to try your hand at cybersecurity. We have a Kahoot quiz designed by our guest this evening with 10 tricky questions all about cybersecurity. So we want you to play along. On screen now is the QR code for the Kahoot. If you just scan it with your phone camera, you'll be able to play along with the game.
Okay, looks like we've got a few people joining on there. Well, we've got loads of people joining. This is going to be interesting. Let's see how we get on.
Exciting, yes.
So what is a CIA or cybersecurity? I wonder how many of us will get this right. Up against the time as well, guys. So the quickest answers get more points. Looks like 12 of you got that right. So confidential, integrity, and availability is the right answer there.
Wow, well done. Oh, and Ben seems to be in the lead. So malicious software activated on a date or sequence of events is called a what? Is that a worm, a Trojan, a logic bomb, or spyware attack?
Oh, 11
and
years.
logic bomb. JW is leading the leaderboard so far.
So which of these are following an example of two-factor authentication? Username and password and PIN, fingerprint and retina scan, or smart card and PIN?
Oh, retina scan seems very technical, doesn't it? That's exciting.
Oh, only 4 of you got that one right.
Maybe I threw them off.
Yeah. Got a new leader.
Well done, Hazel. So what physical security measure may be implemented to safeguard against piggybacking? CCTV, man trap, security screens, or bollards? Physical security measure. This is a tricky one. Security screens. No, blue. 5 people got that right. And Hazel's still in the lead.
Well done, Hazel. The act of sending unsolicited bulk messages is called phishing, farming, spamming, or smishing. The answer's definitely getting quicker now. I think a lot of you knew that one, so 22 of you got that one right. Spamming.
There's no catching Hazel now. Question 6. What is the process of correcting a discovered vulnerability? Is it mitigation, remediation, repudiation, or verification? I think Elizabeth used this word a few times earlier when she was talking. That's the only reason I know the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously the other 18 people that got that right were also listening intently. 5,000 points, Hazel, well done.
Which of these is the strongest password? Password one? Oh yeah, you're gonna have to read those out. I'm not gonna read those ones out. Yeah, it's the blue answer. So 28 of you got that answer right, so well done. Alicia's trying to catch up. She's on a streak. She's on a hot streak.
So true or false, cyber criminals only target large companies? Everyone's answered this really quickly. And that is false.
What is the weakest link in cybersecurity? Weak encryption, humans, short passwords, physical security. Unfortunately, it is humans, so whoever responded got that one right. And Hazel's still in the lead, followed by Alicia. This is our last question then.
Yeah, so what is the best way to maintain privacy between two parties? Long and strong passwords with two-factor authentication, encrypted cloud services, end-to-end encryption, or password sharing? End-to-end encryption. Well done, 19 of you got that right.
Let's see who's our winner. Third place, TT. Well done, TT.
Alicia's in second place. Well done, Hazel.
Well done, Hazel, followed by Alicia. Well done. We all love Kahoot so much. The only bad thing about that was I wasn't allowed to play there. So I love quizzes. But time is flying, and you probably now have questions about how we recruit at LBG, how the application process works, and how we assess candidates. And here to explain everything is our colleague, John Banks.
Hey folks, my name is John Banks and I'm part of the apprenticeships team here at Lloyds Banking Group. I hope you're enjoying your webinar so far today, and I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to talk you through the assessments and selection process should you choose to apply and join us as an apprentice in the future. So I guess first thing to say is we hire at Lloyds Banking Group based on personal strengths, behaviours and motivation to actually work within the group. And the majority of our apprenticeships don't have academic qualifications attached, and that will be dependent on the programme that you apply for. But generally speaking, because we're looking for hiring you as an individual and the type of behaviours and values that you represent, and we attach more value to that than we do academic qualifications. And if you are interested in applying, the first step to take then is to complete an initial online application. And as well as telling us a little bit about yourself, we'll do some basic eligibility checks just to make sure that you qualify for the apprenticeship. And really where you might fall down on that is almost if you were overqualified, because you can't undertake an apprenticeship unless there's a significant learning need. So for example, if you've already held a degree in your particular discipline, then the apprenticeship wouldn't work for you because you're actually qualified to degree level. But assuming that's okay, the first stage post application for you is you may be asked to undertake an online test to assess your strengths and your mathematical skills as well. And if you come through those tests achieving the relevant benchmark, the next step will be an interview. Now that interview can either be a face-to-face interview or it could be a video interview. And if you're applying for a level 2 or a level 3 apprenticeship, that will be the final stage. And as a result of that interview, you may be offered an apprenticeship position. If you are applying for a level 4+ apprenticeship, the final stage will be a follow-on assessment centre, and it's a virtual assessment centre. Takes place for a full day, and it's made up of a further strengths-based interview and a series of virtual challenges. Don't be daunted by the assessment centre in any way, shape or form. It is a full day, and of course you are being assessed against other individuals who are looking to undertake an apprenticeship with ourselves. But it's a relatively fun day. It's relatively informal, and again, we just want to see the real you at that assessment centre. And we do recognise that people are different and want to make the process overall as simple and accessible for everybody. So if you do need any support with any of the steps through the selection and assessment process, we've got a dedicated mailbox. So it'll just be a case of calling out exactly what support you may need, or even if you've just got general questions about the process, full stop, that mailbox is on hand to answer any of those questions. And I guess if I were to give you a tip of how to prepare for either interview or assessment centre, I guess what we don't want is perfectly crafted and rehearsed answers and almost second guessing what we might want to hear. What we want to see is the real you. We want to see your passion for your apprenticeship and the discipline that you've chosen, and of course your motivation for working at Lloyds Banking Group. So that's the process. All of this information, and it will be elaborated on a bit further with some examples and further guidance, can be found at lloydsbankinggrouptalent.com. So definitely go and have a look at that site, have a little look around, some great case studies of some of our existing apprentices as well, who will talk about their journey, essentially how they came to undertake an apprenticeship and what it's like to live and breathe life in Lloyds Banking Group. And just on lloydsbankinggrouptalent.com as well, there is a little button that says register your interest. And why that's quite neat is you can go on and express an interest in particular disciplines of apprenticeship that you're interested in. And it just means whenever a vacancy then does come up, you'll get an automatic notification. So hope that all makes sense. Enjoy the rest of your webinar, and hopefully we receive some applications from many of you in the future. Good luck, folks.
So some really useful hints and tips there from John, our colleague in the apprenticeship team. And for you listen, just as a reminder, there was lots of information covered there, websites and web addresses. If you do need to go back to anything, it will be live tonight from 7 p.m. on our live stream channel, where you can access all of the previous episodes as well as tonight's episode of Careers Live on the YouTube channel. Next up, we have a short video from our colleague Ian with some amazing resources that will help you on your journey.
Hi everybody, it's Ian here. If we've not met before in Careers Live, I look after early careers for Lloyds Banking Group. And this section of Careers Live is all about helping you with some of the resources that you can follow up with to help you manage your career. So these are some favourite websites that we have. And the first one, of course, as you'd expect, is Lloyds Banking Group's talent website. This is the point where you hold up your phone, scan the QR code, and on this site you can find out all about our vacancies, how we recruit, how we assess people, what happens in the assessment centre, and you can read loads of stories of people who've also joined Lloyds Banking Group, whether on an apprenticeship scheme or also on a graduate scheme as well. It's not just Lloyds that has these resources. So outside are two sites that are my favourites. One is the Association of Apprentices and the other is Amazing Apprenticeships. So taking a look at these, the Association of Apprentices is an organisation that exists to try and help apprentices with their journey once they've started. Now, the good thing for you is that if you're thinking about an apprenticeship, you can have a look at some of these resources as well. So there's some great resources around support for apprentices in making friendships, developing a sense of community, study buddies. There's all kinds of events, different kinds of development, lots of resources to help you. In case you're kind of wondering, what's the practicality of being an apprentice, being out in an organisation on your own? Association of Apprentices, really good. Another one is Amazing Apprenticeships. So Amazing Apprenticeships has so many resources. I could take the entirety of Careers Live just describing it, but you can learn all about apprenticeships, case studies, understand T-levels. It also has some very interesting sections as well if you come from a particular background. So if you're a care leaver, caregiver, different things that have happened in your life, there are special pathways that amazing apprenticeships have created to try and help you and guide you based on some of the background. And if you're a parent who's watching this evening as well, you've not been forgotten, because there are some great parents resources in the parent perspective section and some podcasts as well, which will help you. You can listen to them whilst doing things around the house or whatever, in case you want to kind of upskill yourself in how you can guide your young person in making some great career choices. So also in Amazing Apprenticeships are some learning bundles, some T-level bundles. So if you're in year 9, year 10, possibly year 11, still trying to think about where your destination lies, there's some useful resources for post-16 as well in this site. Now, let's not forget the government site. So the government has Find an Apprenticeship service for those who are looking for actual vacancies. You can type in your area, you can type in your postcode, how far you're willing to travel, what kind of apprenticeship you're interested in, and it will show you live vacancies that you can apply for. It's not perfect because it doesn't show you every vacancy that's out there, but it will show you some that employers have chosen to advertise on that site. The next site I want to show you is UCAS. You know UCAS from a university perspective, but also in apprenticeships, it has lots of resources. You can find out all about degree, higher and standard apprenticeship roles, graduate roles, internships, all in one place. Also, there's some great career resources here as well. So if you're not sure what you want to do yet, you can go to the UCAS site and find your next career. You can discover and learn about different employers. Again, it has a job finder and you can look by industry as well. There's also some good resources in practicality. So how to write a CV, how to write a covering letter, how to prepare for your interview, all in one site. Some really, really good, well thought through resources there. And if you're completely unsure what you want to do, then you can do the careers quiz from UCAS. You can type in some things around what you like doing, what you enjoy doing, what your personality is, and it'll suggest different careers for you as well. And you can research also by industry type. The only thing we would say researching by industry type is remembering that some professions, for example, you want to be a software developer or a coder or in DevOps or in data science, they run across all industries. You'll find data scientists in legal, healthcare, veterinary, public service, banking, finance, all sorts of things. So this is a way of understanding careers, but remember that a lot of jobs cut across different industry sectors. Another resource for you here is from the National Careers Service. So if you're looking at a vacancy and it's advertising with a salary of a certain amount and you're thinking, is that any good? Then you can go over to National Careers Service and it'll tell you what the typical salary ranges are for that particular job, what you can expect after training and all sorts of things as well, just so you can get a kind of second opinion as to whether that job advert is as good as it sounds. And finally, of course, we would say check out Careers Live, because we're a year into running Lloyds Careers Live. Imagine what's next. And there are lots and lots of resources there. You've got interviews with apprentices and graduates who are doing these jobs. You can check into all of those on our YouTube channel, listen to them, watch them back, pick up your hints and tips just when you need it as well. So wherever your career is taking you, there are lots of resources out there, and hope you found this section really helpful.
Well, Grenier, our time is almost up. Next month, our colleagues Ian and Amy will be with you enjoying careers in data science and analytics. You'll get to meet more expert guests and apprentices who are carving out their careers in this exciting field. So don't forget to join us on Tuesday, the 7th of November. It's always the first Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Lloyds Careers Live. Now, before we go, let's revisit that poll again and see how well you know and understand careers in cybersecurity. So let's open that poll.
Wow, so many people have learned so much this evening.
I can't see the poll, Grania. Can you see the poll? I can't see the responses. So you might have to.
Yeah, lots of 4s and 5s. So no one voting 1 and 2 anymore, which we had earlier, which is fantastic. So it's great to see that tonight's live stream has helped so many of you. One of the things that Ian didn't share on his video is that we have recently launched our new connector platform, and you will find the link to that in the chat. The best thing to do after tonight's call is register for connector, and that's where we will alert you to any vacancies coming up. Plus you can connect with our mentors to keep the conversation going. Don't forget to register with our Imagine What's Next platform, where you can learn more about careers at Lloyds and chat with some of our career mentors. And you can also find out about the work experience that David asked about in the chat. So that's all launched on the platform. If you have missed anything tonight or websites have been read out too quickly, I'll just remind you again, you can get that after 7 p.m. on our Lloyds Careers YouTube channel, and you can also access all of our previous live broadcasts. But it's been our pleasure to have you join us tonight for Lloyds Careers Live, Imagine What's Next, and wherever your career takes you, we wish you every success. Have a great evening, everyone.
Good night.
What does success mean to us?
Success is making a difference
for our customers and our communities.
Success is empowering people from the start,
building their confidence,
giving them tools to start their careers.
Success is putting our people first.
It's knowing when to listen
and making the time to talk.
Success is supporting causes we care about.
It's getting involved.
All hands on deck.
Success is making banking better.
It's engineering a fairer future.
Making progress and leaving no one behind.
Whatever shape it takes,
success starts with us.